I was just about to unmute. What the heck, Holly? What do you mean you have resubbed for 10 months? Wow. Thank you. Hold on. Let me get that out of here. Do I have anything I don't need to be open? Open. Yes, I do. Get that out of here. All right. Yeah, an entire year. I know. How has that happened? Also a 30 stream streak? What the heck? I already can't read? Ah. 10? My dashboard said 10. Resubscribed for 10 months at tier 1. Oh, they've been subscribed for 12 months. Okay. That was Twitch's fault. I read it correctly. Twitch displayed the wrong fucking information first. Anyway, hi chat. Okay, Twitch is just drunk. Hold up. Can I actually not read? No, it says 10 on my end. But yeah, I apologize for being a little late. In my defense, I was actually eating breakfast for the first time in like a year. So but anyway, this is Demon Bluff, but this is not your ordinary Demon Bluff. As you might have noticed from the title of the stream, this is modded. And basically what the mod that I have installed, I have the Better Lies mod, which is by Skill Cycler. Huge shout out to that guy for making this mod. Basically, in vanilla, there's a whole bunch of rules about what kind of lies can exist. With this mod, in order to be a lie, all it has to be is not the truth. So hopefully this is going to be a very spicy stream with a ton of very interesting puzzles. Well, that's great. It already didn't work because this was on for some reason. Why was that on? I don't know, but now I have to reload because I don't want to see that. There we go. Because this mod can be made to work without blind mode on, but I have it configured for blind mode on right now. It's 12 and you're on mobile? Okay, well, Twitch is just drunk. I will try to bring up the changes as they come up. We have game audio, right? Yes. The first change has actually already come up. This is always here. This is always going to be here. No matter if there's a Lilith or a lycanthrope or any of that, this thing's always here. It's behind my head, so you can't really see it, but it's always going to be there. Which means I'm not going to know if I have a Lilith or a lycanthrope, and, well, I mean, I'll know if I have Lilith after I flip 4 cards and she kills something, but... Fortune Teller, I don't think has been changed. Judge hasn't been changed. Jester okay, can I get some actual information, please? It's always Amada time? Maybe. It's Amada time for now, for the next 2 hours-ish. The Hunter has been changed. A True Hunter hasn't been changed, but... in fact, the change that this mod makes to the Hunter is why I wanted this mod. For those of you who didn't watch my stream on Thursday and missed my, like, 5-minute rant about the way the Hunter works in vanilla now, in vanilla, I would pretty much already know there's an evil here and an evil here if this was somehow lying. Because it would have to point to two goods if it can. Now, the only thing this tells me, if it's true, then there's an evil, the closest evil is here. If it's a lie, the closest evil is any of these. Which is how it should be. Oh god, why are there 2 of them? There's 2 of them and they're both pointing at 7. That's very interesting. That's a druid. It's a second jester. 6 was allegedly affected by an evil. Well, this can't be a puka anymore, unless this is something that can't be corrupted. I also don't see an outcast. I think I'm going to do that. You think there's a doppelganger there. I kind of believe you. This actually does bring me into another sweeping change. For any character that mentions a role by name, if that character is lying, that role doesn't even necessarily exist. So just because this druid here has said doppelganger, does not mean we have a doppelganger in this village. That change is pretty huge. Now, all of that said, I kind of believe this druid. This kind of feels like a doppelganger pair, or maybe this one's the This feels like either doppelganger shaman or doppelganger evil. These two seem to both think 7 is evil, and I kind of agree with that assessment. You seem to think so. I'm gonna try that. Okay. So, these two are presumably good. You're good. What the hell? Evil affected 6, though. See what you think. You think this is evil? I agree with you. That was a puka. And there was a doppelganger. Okay. That was actually a relatively easy one, all things considered. Keep flipping. 7's good, apparently. Enlightened. Counterclockwise. Maybe 7's not good. Druid again. You're good. That hasn't changed. There is a setting to change this. I do not have it on. But that setting does exist, and I feel a need to mention it. You seem to be somewhat accusing 8. There appear to be 2 of you. We allegedly have a minion who is allegedly 3 cards away from the closest evil. Then what are you saying? You're the 3rd one. Well, let's see what you think about this Rambler. You think there isn't an outcast. You think there is. Hello, the frenzy. I need to get a head pet redeem. I know. I'll work on that eventually, maybe. Okay. So, wait a minute. Oh, God. This Empress might... Okay, the Empress has actually also been changed. Normally in vanilla, the Empress will always point at either 1 evil if it's true or 0 evils if it's lying. In this mod, if it's lying, it just has to be pointing at not 1 evil. It could be pointing at 2 or 3 evils. We don't know. In order for this to be a lie, all it has to point at is more than 1 or less than 1. Now, granted, I actually don't think it's... Well, actually... This is possible. But then the minion isn't 3 cards away. Makes me think it's this? That makes this and this true. This is de facto true. But then what the hell is the outcast? I guess this is a drunk? I was thinking it was poisoner poisoned, but it could also just be a drunk sat next to something. I think I'm gonna stab this Rambler, because I get a ton of information either way. Nope, that's a good Rambler. Okay, what I had the first... Well, okay, you're still good. So you're good. Suspicious, good. Suspicious, suspicious. Probably good, but not necessarily. So this is a good Rambler, which means both of these are lying. That also means this is the outcast. This is lying. Is this just... Can this just be the evil team? No. Actually, yes. This is also starting to look incredibly suspicious, because I'm going to be real. These kind of all look good. think I stabbed 7. Or not 7, I think I stabbed 1. Puka 6. Could be Puka 6. Would have to be this. The problem with this is it could just as easily be this. But I think these two are always evil. Unless this is drunk. This could... No, this... If this is drunk, then this is a Chancellor. That's just a minion, which means this is never good. That's a Puka. Which is why you're lying. This is just true. So it's the Empress. Oh, we had a shaman. That's why there were 2 druids, even though one was corrupted. I probably should have figured that out a little sooner, but... That was a tough one. Sometimes, even in regular blind mode, sometimes you get a puzzle where the only way to really solve it is at the end of a knife. And that was kind of just one of them. Now that is a very interesting thing for this bishop to be saying. Because it hasn't named an outcast, but there is also 0 outcasts in this village, which, by the way, is another thing that this mod has changed, I think, is that there's just more possible compositions of village. Well, we'll see about that. Bishop is usually 3 points, but the 3rd point it names is outcast, and there are none. If it did name if I see an outcast, then we do have a Chancellor and this is lying, but... Or it's just evil. Something could be disguised as an outcast. The bishop has also changed, because normally if it's lying, it points at exactly 3 villagers. Now a bishop who's lying can point at any combination other than exactly minion outcast villager. So far, everyone looks good. Maybe it could be these 2. You see, okay, hold up. Now this looks like a poisoner situation. I'm gonna flip this just in case it's a witch. You're dizzy, and it's not a witch. And we also allegedly have a Puka. Well, according to this bishop, this confessor looks pretty evil. Okay. Scamming yours and Heike stretches? I did your stretch. I didn't hear the one Heike just did. Oh, I needed that. Okay, so... I'm gonna be real. I feel like this is the... Wait. A super hydrate where you throw them out on a paddling pool? No, there isn't. I was gonna say this feels like a Puka, but it actually can't be. Unless this bard is... No, it just can't be. Oh, and we also don't have outcasts. Still feeling like... This feels like Ba Poisoner. That's the intuitive thing. Well, let's just see what you think about the bishop information. These 2 are now backing each other up. This actually could be... No, it can't be Puka, because then what are you saying? I'm gonna stab this Slayer. I don't trust him. Okay. My apologies. You 2 are now both very suspicious. This is a Puka. This is a Puka. Yeah, I think this just is a puka. Because we know this is good. And if this was a minion, then this is good and it would have killed it. So this is lying. And this really looks like a puka. It is a puka. Now, immediately, this scout looks very suspicious. We do have a puka. However, can I make this scout be telling the truth? Well, we know it's not here. And if it was here, it can't be, because it's telling the truth. So if whatever the other evil is, let's just say it's a minion or something, it would have to be here to make the scout true. But if it's here, then the bard is telling the truth. The only way to put an evil here is to make it a poisoner or a chancellor who created a drunk. They're pretty interchangeable, which would be causing this to lie. But the problem is that this isn't lying in that world. Therefore, this is always true. Therefore, goodbye. This mod is so much more fun than vanilla. Unfortunately, there is a little bit less of me clip farming by just solving entire villages in one card. But, oh boy, what did you do? Now that's very interesting. You are claiming that there is specifically a corruption here, if you two are both good. Oh my god, Paper Moon. I am not even going to comment on that. Okay, this is getting very complicated very quickly. Can I get some information, please? Thank you. I apologize, I'm a little sniffly. I just am. Okay, let's actually think about this. You're talking about basically all of your neighbors and also your neighbors and this guy. That's a wretch. Wait, you're pointing at that's the minion in your information. It's not really coming through on the mic, that's good. Two pairs of evil, you say? Is that possible? That is possible. That's implying it's like this. And we have a witch. Could also be this. In fact, hold up. This makes a whole lot of sense, except for the part... Well, no, because... Wait. What outcast are you pointing at? Because the wretch registers as a minion. Which means... This... is very suspicious. And the wretch is always the wretch. The wretch cannot be disguised as. So maybe it's not this. Maybe I'm putting way too much faith in this knitter. Well, okay, you should never be able to see anything. Okay, that's true. Unless we have a chancellor. But I'm gonna just proceed as if this is true for now. Knitter, it seems sus, but it's nowhere near impossible, especially with double claim city going on. In fact, there is an evil among these. The only way that there's no evils among these is if one of these two is a chancellor that has created a doppelganger in one of these investigators, and we have a shaman. In fact, we can't have a chancellor and a shaman because we have a witch. So yeah, there is an evil among these four. That is just a factual statement. And my money's on this guy. Let's see what you have to say about this. You think there's a minion right here. I kind of agree with you to the point I'm confident enough to stab. Well, there is a Chancellor. Wait a minute. What did I... 1, 2, and 3? This is a lie. In fact, that actually, I think, confirms these two. Because I think this has to be a doppelganger now. I guess this could technically be a drunk? This could be a drunk, this is a poisoner, this is poisoned. That's technically possible. But what we do know is there's no corruptions in this general vicinity. Or there's more than one. But that seems a little unlikely. Considering we have, in fact... Hold on, how do we get more than one? That is actually possible if we have like a puka here and this guy made a drunk. Oh, I just noticed you also could have made a lycanthrope. That doesn't necessarily confirm this. Well, yes, it does. Does it? It doesn't. You could have made a lycanthrope here. And not a doppelganger here. You're still lying, but... This... Okay, we got a lot of things that don't look possible on the board right now. But I trust this investigator. Let's see what you think about these two. Demon. I believe it. Okay. Wait. This can't be evil. If this is evil, it becomes true. This is evil. That knitter. You always gotta trust the suspiciously large number knitter. Oh, that was a really satisfying one. What did you even have to say? 6 or 7 is a poisoner? True. Technically. Because it's seeing the wretch as a poisoner. Because it's the wretch. As soon as you saw the buy, you realized what was going on. It took me a minute. That was a really good puzzle. That was a puzzle that perfectly demonstrates why I love this mod. Well. Well. The mods can't stop me from clip farming. I'm playing modded so that I can't do this and I still do this. What the hell? I love this game. Yes, the wretch. That used to be vanilla behavior. Then it was removed. Then this mod added it back in. You didn't even see what the card flip was? Knight. Look, the knight said, I can't die. And I said, I believe you. And stabbed him. And... It's not my fault you decided to disguise as a knight. 2, 4, or 7. Let's see what you have to say about this. That is true. Because there is, in fact, a shaman here. But I was being a little sheepish. Maybe. Oh, hi, Lilith. Been a while since we've seen you. Logic easier to follow in this mod because it's more intuitive. I know, it's weird. I mean, if this is an outcast, this kind of looks like a shaman. This could always be the outcast, though. This looks exceptionally true. This, not so much. Lilith or shaman? Okay, well, you're good. Wait, that confirms this is good as well. Because now Lilith can't be among these roles. The Dreamer has also been changed. In that, even when it's telling the truth, the second role it mentions doesn't have to exist. So, like, we don't necessarily know there's a doppelganger. There could be, and if there is, it's probably here. But we don't have to. The Dreamer is also the only card that still has a rule about how it lies when it's lying. And it will still mention 2 fake rolls when it's lying, just because of how specific the Dreamer is with everything. Let's see what you have to say about these two. Bishop or Doppelganger? That makes me think Bishop Lilith. I'm confident enough in that assessment to stab. Yep. What the hell was 5 affected by? Oh, it's the shaman pair. And we did have a doppelganger. Okay, that was actual good Lilith kill. So we did have a doppelganger. It was here. And this was another bishop, and this was the shaman pair. Okay. I really thought these two were the shaman pair. Not again. Not again. What do you mean? Twice in a row. This is the same thing that happened last village. What is this? Why do you keep disguising as knights? This is supposed to be better lies. Okay. Well, there's corruption around here somewhere. Okay, this is corrupted because this is a wretch. We mark that. That's a slayer? Okay, that's useful. Well. Hi, Lilith. Fortune teller. 4 is good. Does that have to be true? That has to be true. So it's 5 or 3. It's 5. Okay. Free puzzle. What the hell even were you? Oh, you were just a confessor anyways. Great job, Lilith. Okay. Yep, this... I don't know. I solved this entire puzzle while you were clipping the last one. I don't know, it was easy. It wasn't a hard puzzle. Oh, good lord, we've got just we have only 5 villagers in this massive puzzle. This is going to be interesting. That's a plague doctor, first one we've seen today. Puppeteer, allegedly. Well, it's never here. You're claiming the corruption is adjacent to you. Okay, you two, knock it off. We also maybe just had a lycanthrope transformation. We also, well, we don't have Lilith at this point. We know that. Why are there 3 bards and why are 2 of them pointing at this? Okay, neither of the nighttime rolls. 3 or 5 is a puppet. Now that's directly disagreeing with what you're saying. Oh no, 1 could be a puppeteer. What am I on about? We have... If we have exactly a doppelganger and a drunk, or a lycanthrope that got flipped up, and this is not a plague doctor, that could still happen. The problem is it still disagrees with what this one's saying. Well, we've got 2 bards pointing at this investigator. I feel like I have to. Not corrupted, allegedly. Well, shit. There is another possibility. And that's poisoner poisoned evil. If it's evil, then it would be lying by saying this is not corrupted when it is. That would also make this one evil. These two are both mentioning puppeteer puppet, though. That makes me think we actually do have a puppeteer puppet. So what does that make the puppet? 3 or 5, allegedly. I don't think this works. Well, hold up. In this world, we have a doppelganger and a drunk. That makes you drunk. You... Puka poisoned? But no, you can't be puka poisoned, because then this is true. Oh, I think that's where this falls apart, isn't it? Well, hold up. This can also just be drunk without... And then this can happen. But then you... And you... Yeah, this just doesn't work. Okay, I think this Plague Doctor is just telling the truth. And then this is not corrupted. So then what the hell are all of these bards on about? Okay, let's go with the simplest idea. This is the simplest idea, is that this is an oops, none bards situation. So that makes 5 the puppet, makes this the Plague Doctor corruption, makes this true, makes this true, but you couldn't kill 4. Oh wait, no, you'd be telling the truth here. Which would make you evil, which would make you corrupted. But why could you not kill 4? Because you're also corrupted because this is a puka? That is an evil idea, Pineapple. I love it. Hold up, does this work? Where's our second outcast? Drunk. This works. This is awful, but it works. Or we can always just have a drunken with the puka, but this does have to be... These two have to be some combination of drunk and Plague Doctor. Wait, no, this can't be evil then. Because 5 is the puppet. That makes this... Why did I mark this as evil? Hold up, I've confused myself. I think I'm gonna oh, let's use this investigator. Right now, what do I trust most? Plague Doctor. I think the Plague Doctor and the Enlightened. Minion. Okay, let's unpack this statement. So, if the world in which I have currently built was true, this does not work. This is where you'd start stabbing people. Yeah, but I want to make my best guess on who the best stab is. feel like this has to be a puppeteer. I mean, all of these birds are so suspicious. I think I have to stab 5 just because that gives me a ton of information at this point. 5 is a puka. Well then, that completely changes everything I thought was happening. You're telling the truth, though. Okay, well then. This could still be puppeteer, because that would make this one true. That'd also make this true, presumably. Enough so that I'm confident enough in stabbing this oracle. That oracle is corrupted. I hate now that this one could be a puppeteer, but I'm not confident enough to stab that, so... This one is definitely true, but I really want this to be true. I want this to be a doppelganger pair. I don't know why. I shouldn't trust this, but I do. So you're corrupted, so you never work. This one is clearly lying, and it's far enough. I think I stabbed this one. That's a minion. Okay. You are almost certainly true. I don't know. I'm believing it's this again. Because that makes it oops none barred. Which is what I thought at like the very beginning. I'm gonna stab 3. I stabbed 4. Puppeteer, puppet. Phew. And this was a doppelganger. Okay. That was really tough. Mostly because there was only 3 pieces of good information on the board. Or 4, I guess, if you count the Plague Doctor. Phew. Wow, that was hard. Player. Is that possible? That is possible. That is also possible. Wait. This is no longer possible. Because let me just think about this for a second. There are 3 demons that can exist. We have 1 demon. It's either a puka, which would have poisoned something, thus affecting an evil. A ba, who would have hidden an evil, thus affecting a character. Or a Lilith, who we clearly don't because she didn't kill anyone. Actually, this is still possible if we have a puka sandwiched between 2 things it can't corrupt. But I'm looking at you, buddy. 3, 6, and 8. I kind of believe that this is the minion in your information, but... Well, you seem to think the minion in the bishop information is... That's a plague doctor, allegedly. Well, that's one case where the better lie is not really a good lie. Because we don't have a witch. Is this a puka, maybe? Well, 3 is not corrupted, allegedly. Well, if 3's not corrupted, I think I can stab it, because it's very, very, very difficult. And it's in the bishop information that's pointing at what looks like a villager and an outcast. I think I stabbed 3 here. Now that is fascinating. You're telling the truth. So we cannot have a Ba because it would have hidden an outcast. We have a Puka sandwich. That is actually huge information. Okay, these two are still very suspicious. This is lying. This has to be true. There's no way there's no evil here. Wait. Now this is starting. Maybe this is one of the evils. Because this is looking like an outcast and two villagers now. And then how do we make this happen? Wait, no. Wait. Okay, this is the Plague Doctor corruption. This is just good. This is a wild idea. Puka, puppeteer, puppet, drunk. Or I guess this one could be the drunk. Some combination of drunk and plague doctored. Because we do have a second outcast somewhere, and we clear... In fact, yeah, we don't have a lycanthrope and we don't have a doppelganger. So we do have a drunk. Wait, no, this can't be a puppet, because then this is its puppeteer. This is a drunk, and then this is... Who knows? But then what's going on here? If this is the drunk... This is the drunk, this is corrupted, so this can be true, but then we still have 3 corruptions out of a possible 2. Because the only ways we can get a corruption is for... In fact, we have exactly 2 corruptions. We have a drunk and a plague doctor corruption somewhere. Wait, no, 9 has to be evil. This is the... Yeah. Okay, here's something. What if it's just these... It can't be these 2. Does Better Lies changes the bishop when it's lying? Yes. Let's see if you think this is a lie. You think that's true. But then you're lying. We run out of corruptions again. Then what are you? Nothing works here. What am I missing? Can't be this, because then this has to be a drunk and it isn't. Okay, here's something I can say. Between the bishop and the gem crafter, one has to be evil. The gem crafter isn't evil. Because every possible way to make it evil does not work. So this bishop is evil. Or it's lying. Can I check the judge on the witness? That is a good idea. But now I'm back to this world. Where why does this not work? This does work. We've got a drunk, a puka, or a plague doctor. No, this has to be specifically the drunk. A puka, which couldn't corrupt this because it was already corrupted because it's the drunk to make this true. This is why this falls apart. Because this freaking enlightened is pointing the wrong way. Oh, wait, hold up. This is actually the evil. This is the plague doctor corruption. This works. But then why could you not kill? That's why I had you as the plague doctor corruption. I think I need to just sanity stab the scout because nothing is making sense. Okay, no, let's go around the circle playing who can be a puka. Can we make this a puka? In fact, immediately I can roll these two out of being puka. So right now green just means it's not a puka. Isn't one a lycanthrope? That is possible. We could have a lycanthrope among these. I didn't even consider that. Okay, so let's just go around the circle finding where a puka can even physically fit. We know it's not any of these, because this would be corrupted if it was. Let's actually start here. We already tried that. It doesn't work. If this is a puka, then this is drunk. And we already tried that world. If this is a puka, then we have too many lies. Because now we have 3 lies to put around. Well, we have to put something here. If we, as soon as this is a lie, it has to be a drunk specifically. Which means this has to be evil, and then what the hell is this? So this is not the puka. This runs into the same situation very quickly. This would have to be evil. This would have to be the drunk. But now both of these have to be lying, and they can't. So in fact, yeah, we already tested that. This, to make this the puka, that would explain you would have to be the drunk or the second evil, and so these two have to be the drunk and the second evil. I'm gonna mark them both as red, but just asterisk that one of them is a drunk. Again, we have this is a lie, and this is a lie, and we only have one extra lie to place. So this can't be a puka. So this is this the puka? This would have to be the drunk or evil. This is telling the truth. And that can't be a lycanthrope. So that doesn't work. I just went around the circle and there's nowhere you can put a puka. But we have to have a puka. Huh? There has to be a... Okay, what possibility am I missing here? Lycanthrope and drunk. Because of a chancellor. Hold up. That's a that could be a thing. Let's just let's just say this is the chancellor. Just to make things easier. Now we can put a lycanthrope here. A puka here. A drunk here. And this is still wrong. Because we still only have a plague doctor corruption to place. Okay, what's the only card that could be a well, hold up. Yeah, the only card that could be a lycanthrope and make a difference is this one. So let's just say this is a lycanthrope. This still can't be a puka because it would have corrupted that. So this has to be the puka if this is a lycanthrope. Let's say then that this is the chancellor. No, because it's easiest to say this has to be the chancellor because we know this is a lie next to an outcast. We can finagle who's exactly the plague doctor corruption and why all the lie. Let's just find... 4 is the lycan. 4 is a lycan and 5 is a puka. I did not consider that. Okay. This is a puka. This is a lycanthrope, which is why it's not corrupted. This still has to be evil. This has to be drunk. Created by the chancellor, presumably. Because we have 3 outcasts. Then this is true. This is true. This is true. This works. I'm stabbing 2 because it's the... We know there's no witch. Okay. So how... Wait, what? We have a ba? Huh? But... What? Huh? So it hid this outcast that isn't in the village? What? Yeah, that's a bug. Let me take a screenshot of that. Oops. And a screenshot of that. Hold up, let me report that to, because that's definitely, that's a mod bug, not a vanilla bug, almost certainly. I have never seen, I can't even tell you what went wrong here. Yeah, because the reason that this was so hard is because the witness didn't. But oh, so this is a deck setting problem. It put an extra outcast. It put a third outcast for no reason. Why? For what reason did it do that? I don't... I've... Okay. Well. Demon Bluff. Better lies. Did I just attach the same image twice? Yes. Hold on, I should send in my config file as well, because I already know that that is going to be asked for. Oh crap, now I have to find that. Steam library, Steam apps. I think it's in this one? User data, better lies config. Okay. Honestly, I'm kind of glad this was bugged. I'm impressed that, like, Nidaire's solution should have been the correct answer. Because, yeah, if this... Because Nidaire's solution did work. That this was a puka. That neither of these... And that this was a chancellor who created a lycanthrope that didn't turn. That did work. This was just the wait, where was the plague doctor corruption in that world? Oh, that's where that falls apart. Where was the plague doctor corruption? There was no plague doctor corruption in that world. That's where it falls apart. But yeah, this was just this was completely unsolvable. No way, skill site. Not gonna stay on the screen any longer. Wait, hold up. Is there absolutely anything else that they could possibly want to debug this? No, because I sent them this and I sent them this. Plague would be 1. No, but we're saying 1 is a drunk. Because the chancellor... Oh, I guess this didn't have to be a chancellor. Oh, this didn't have to be a chancellor in that world. Yeah, that would have worked. Damn. Damn. Well, at least the bug's been reported. See a medium and I immediately don't trust either of you. Especially when you put 1 in this Empress information. 4 from closest evil. That is technically possible. That is an insane thing for you to be saying. Does that work? That is an insane thing for you to say, but it does work. Now this does not fit into that, but you could be the plague doctor corruption. Okay. Hunter's no longer... Wait. No, because then... I was thinking this could be a puppet, but no, it can't. Okay. Charade's up. You're corrupted. Wait a minute. No, you're not. Wait just one damn second. We have no outcasts. What the hell is this plague doctor doing here? I mean... Yeah, this plague doctor can't be good. Because if it's good, it was created by a chancellor. And if it was created by a chancellor, the chancellor's here. And if the chancellor's here, it's not fucking corrupted. So... That also means you aren't corrupted, but we also just proved you aren't true, so... Okay, you two. We also know this is confirmed good. We do have a witch. Or... And it's allegedly one of these two. You agree with that. In fact, I think it is one of those two. Yep. They heard I tried to mod the game to make their lives better, and they took that as a challenge to be even dumber. Yep. They almost got away with it, too. It took me a minute to realize, wait a minute, why the hell is there a plague doctor in this village? That was... Oh, wow, Skill Cycler actually got back to me that fast? I did not expect that. Apparently there's always a... This mod puts the fake outcast back? I mean, that's a good thing. But... Okay, I guess that's a thing. So the endless mode fake outcast is back. I guess I just didn't know the mod put that back in because I'm playing in blind mode. So it's not a bug? That doesn't feel right. I've asked a follow-up question. Yeah, back before I started playing, endless mode used to add just a complete decoy outcast in the deck view so that a minion who disguised as an outcast was a little harder to spot. I mean, you'd still know there was too many outcasts, but like... It made it better so you didn't know necessarily which outcasts you had. Like, if it showed you a doppelganger or a drunk and you had one outcast, you wouldn't know if you had a doppelganger or a drunk until you figured it out. That got removed, allegedly. That's another one of those, it got removed allegedly for new players and it made the game so much worse changes. I guess this mod reverts that? But yeah, that change happened before the Ba change. So that interaction is something that I've never seen before. I thought that got removed. I guess this mod adds that back in. Oh no. Wait a minute. The only reason I'm not stabbing you is because you could be Chancellor created. Well, that's a Ba. I think I can solve this puzzle. Why would that stop Ba affecting an outcast from being detected by the witness? Because the quote-unquote outcast... Okay, what Ba does is it hides an outcast in the deck, not an outcast in the village. So the outcast in the deck that got hidden was the one that wasn't actually real. Therefore, there was no card in the village for the witness to point at. Also, I have enough to solve this. Okay. Better lies my ass. Because look, either this was created by a Chancellor or it was evil. Because there's 0 outcasts in this village. And because you never want to stab the Bombardier first, I stabbed this in case it was a Chancellor, saw that it wasn't, and stabbed this. Didn't expect this to be a Chancellor, but, you know. What even was the rest of this village? Real scout, true information, one pair, the other lover. Okay. Stab first, ask questions later. Yep. You're a bishop pointing at yourself. Oh god. I presume I don't know this, but I presume this mod makes it so that this isn't always true. Because in vanilla, if you see this statement, you know that you're looking at two goods. I presume this mod has changed that. Although, the fact that you're pointing it... I suddenly don't trust these two. Hold up, I might have enough to solve this. Because if 7's a doppelganger, then this is pointing at a villager, an outcast, and a minion. And if there's no evils adjacent to this liar, then there is evils adjacent, and it's not this, because this is a doppelganger, so therefore... I think it's these two. Shit. Well. I was trying to clip farm. That would have been awesome if it worked. You can't fault my logic. That said, I do still believe... Well, no, this is never evil. It could be a doppelganger. Oh, no, but then this is... Wait. This is never true. Yeah, this is just never true. Because you can't put a minion next to this... Lycan tells the truth. Werewolf will... Oh, wait, werewolf. But there can't be a werewolf here because this is pre-flip. So Lycanthrope would be telling the truth. Bombardier that should be here this time. One is evil? I kind of believe that, actually. I just noticed there's two bishops. And two poets, which... That does back up to the doppelganger stonks. What if this is a puppet in its own information? By a puppeteer here. Right side more evil? It wouldn't be in this world. Because I do feel like this is actually a doppelganger. Then what the hell are you saying? Doppelganger or poisoner? Neither of these... This looks like it's lying to me. Because we know this isn't evil. It could be lying, but we know it's not evil. Let's see what you think about... See what you think about these two. Puka or Bishop? I think you're lying, and I think this is... I think you're lying, and this is not a Bishop. This is terrifyingly possible that this could actually... Well, hold up. No, if this is a Puka, then this is lying, so... That's a poisoner. Okay. Well, this... We actually aren't gonna know, but I'm gonna mark it as true. Because it should be a doppelganger. In theory. What if this is just evil? It can be, because this could be a demon. Wait, but it can be a Ba. Because we know this is lying. I would expect you to say 2. I'm going for it. Shit. God damn it. Oh, I should have considered the freaking architect. God damn it. Oh, and this couldn't have been a puka because... Okay. I was just distracted. Was never removed? What are you... Skill cycler? Are you good? I don't... But... It... Huh? I mean, yeah, we've got the fake Rambler here, but that doesn't happen in vanilla. I need to look at a vanilla VOD now. Because now I'm gaslighting myself. I need to look at one of my own frickin' VODs where I'm not playing blind mode. Surely I played a non-blind puzzle in 8. Did I seriously pick the one VOD where I started in blind mode other than this one? Yep. Okay, let's try the next one. But okay, into a puzzle. Hold up. There's 3 here. Hold up. Not me watching my own VOD trying to figure something out. Yeah, there's not... Huh? Okay, now I need to load into vanilla. I'm confused. I'm loading into vanilla. I am diagnosing this nonsense live on stream. Take that out of the launch options to load vanilla. Hold up, let me go over here. Endless. Oh. No, because we have an evil Rambler in this village. Yeah. No audio, by the way? I'm aware. Yeah, no, it was removed. Well, actually, hold up. This is a bad puzzle. Yeah, here we have exactly 2. I don't get it. Let me get rid of that. Load back into modded. I'm still trying to figure out that one puzzle. Demon Bluff properties. Put the DLL override back in the launch options. Now it's going to take a bit to launch. Might as well go over here. I don't know why I was on the BRB screen. I could have just been over here. There we go. All right, back to better lies. Okay. I need to unpack this one. 4 pairs of evil in a village with 3 evils. That's 1 pair, 2 pair, 3 pair with a wretch, 4 pair with a puppet. Puppeteer, okay. We have a puppeteer and a wretch, and they're all in a row. Closest evil equidistant? This is either a lie or I can solve the puzzle. In fact, yeah, I can solve the puzzle with just this. If it's equidistant, 1, 2... This is the evil team. I can solve the puzzle. Well, hold up. There's a different option for the evil team. And that's... Actually, this could be corrupted. There's 3 options for the evil team. But these 3 are always evil. Asterisk on the wretch. Or Lying Knitter can say that now. But that's a ba. These 3 should always be evil. Shit. Okay, that just means it's this version. Now I just have to find the wretch and not stab it. There's no wretch. Why is there no wretch? There's no wretch. Okay. Okay, there is a wretch, but there's not 4 pairs of evil. That is simply not possible. This is also true. And you're saying this is a minion? I fully believe you. That's the Chancellor who created this wretch. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the fact that that nonsense worked to hit Ba. Okay, well, the clip farming just runs in my blood. Oh my god. I gotta go back into vanilla after this one. 6 is good? Well, that's not true. This looks like a... This is what you would say if you were... Oh god, this is what both of you would say if you were a puppet. There's only one more evil for me to find, so let's investigate these 2. Villager, so it's this one. Okay. Alright. I gotta go back into vanilla. Why are we hopping between? Trying to diagnose what the hell happened in that one puzzle. I chose a poor choice of screenshot because it's a Chancellor. I am confident that that got removed at some point. Let me find a different village. Am I, like... I'm not just hallucinating this, am I? That's the wrong scene. Yeah, I said this was changed a little before I started playing. Okay. I have to tab, then alt, then tab back into the game. That's how I can take a screenshot of this. This only has one outcast, and there's no Chancellor creating an extra one here. I still can't figure that out. Either the mod added it back in. That's the thing, is I can't tell if I'm just being trolled by the mod dev here. Because if what I am being directly lied to by the mod developer right now. Because the mod developer is saying that the second outcast should still be here. And there's no second outcast. So I am being directly lied to by the mod developer, and I do not appreciate that. Especially given the things I've gone through in my life. I don't appreciate this, Skill Cycler. Okay, let me read through the interaction as exactly as it's been. Okay, they just went offline, which means they're probably frustrated with me. Okay, never mind. They were just restarting because they're back, or Discord sneezed. So I sent the screenshots of the puzzle that I took and my config. They said, quote, "That's because you are playing endless mode, which adds a fake outcast." I said, "I thought that got removed. Was it added back in?" They said, "It was never removed. That's just a rumor." I got some vanilla screenshots that showed the correct amount. And I chose a poor choice because they said Chancellor added in the same outcast as the fake one. Also, please take the discussion out of the thread because this isn't relevant. I think it is relevant because this is an issue with either the mod or vanilla. And when playing modded, you always report to the mod developer first. Then I asked, I clarified that I thought it was a bug with the mod. And then I questioned if either the fake still exists internally and isn't shown, or if I've just been playing way too much blind mode and butterfly affected myself. Then I went back into vanilla and grabbed this screenshot where there is clearly no second outcast. So, like, I'm in endless mode, and there's no second outcast. So I am being lied to, and I do not appreciate that. Because they said I've just been playing way too much blind mode. But, like, there's... Yeah, here's a screenshot with exactly one outcast, which I have directly been told by the developer of the mod should not exist. And this is in vanilla right now. So, not a huge fan of how hostile this mod developer is being to somebody being confused with a presumptive bug report. Yeah, this looks like the mod dev is corrupted. That's what it looks like. I'm not actually going to solve it. Do I actually solve this? Nah. Me. Get that. Go back to menu. Exactly. I know we had no game audio this whole time. I will say that this whole thing with the mod dev gaslighting me has led to me being extremely frustrated and not wanting to continue streaming, which is unfortunate. Broadly, I still love the mod. I'm still just trying to figure out what the hell happened to that one village. But yeah, I, especially given my life experience, really do not appreciate being gaslit. Not that most people do. Maybe this is just some sort of miscommunication or in joke I'm not in on, but this feels like malice. Calm down. Okay. Me raid out before I get too much more frustrated than I already am. Okay, I gotta stop looking at this. Making it worse. Okay, who do I want to raid? Hmm. I'm struggling to make a decision. Mostly because I'm probably, I mean, big shocker, Demon Bluff enjoyer overthinking something? No, that can't be. To be fair, I also do kind of have to end stream a little early because I started a little late. I'm pretty sure I like just raided Cat, but I'm gonna raid Cat again because I can't come up with anything better. So I will be sending the Twitch crew over to Flannel Cat. If y'all want to see me hopefully get a little less frustrated in future streams, please check out my site here. It has all my links. Of course, ARG is still ongoing. Let me get that unless someone else gets that before me. Thank you, Paper Moon. Anyway, yeah, Cat is doing an Elden Ring rando with Gray, who I also raid sometimes. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. Tomorrow, hopefully.